My housemate brought her babies to visit and it felt overwhelming and unsafe. I've rented a house for 10 years and needed a housemate for the fall semester. Elle is a new mother who needed to finish her dissertation to get her PhD, so she made the incredibly difficult decision to leave her partner with her kids and move 300 miles away to do so. She goes back home at the end of December. Elle is a really smart, funny person who seems to have a good heart and good values, although she is really oblivious to most things. This is where things get tricky. I know she's been missing her children, and I know that she has some codependency issues, but I'm too busy with my own life right now to be her anchor. I'm a creative who works from home on a freelance schedule. I also have 2 part-time jobs. I definitely enjoy her company for the most part. However, she doesn't seem to understand that I'm at home working and she often interrupts me when I'm at my computer because she's lonely and wants to talk about her relationship with her partner, which is falling apart and seems awful. My room is pretty cramped, but I've started to work more at my desk instead of common areas in order to be productive. She'll come to my closed door and knock a few times per hour to see if she can strike up conversation with me. Every time I say I'm working, I'm sorry. This is getting frustrating. It's like no matter how many times I directly tell her how busy I am right now and how limited my bandwidth is, she keeps trying to get me to hang out more than I can. And have the same conversations about her partner and family over and over. It's starting to feel like pestering. About a week ago she wanted to know if I could do a movie night. I said I might be free Monday. She was out of town that day. I said maybe I could do Sunday, but I was working at my job and then had to come home and finish work for a client. She probably asked me another 6 times in person, by text, and then by knocking on my closed door several times when I told her I was too busy to join. Okay, it's annoying. It's not the end of the world. Well, then she brought her babies up to visit and it's been absolutely miserable. This woman is not able to parent appropriately. She asked me several times if I could babysit for her while her children were visiting and I directly said no each time. She said they would be cranky after such a long trip up from her partner's house and if I was home anyway, it would be weird to hire a different sitter. Also, when would I have time to bond with the babies? I told her, I'm sorry, but I don't have the emotional bandwidth to bond with 2 infants right now and I'm not available to babysit because of my schedule. I gave her several contacts and wished her luck in scheduling something. She immediately alienated one of my contacts. So she brings up the babies. She did a straight-through drive of 7 hours with the infants. They were completely dysregulated for the next 36 hours. Horrible, non-stop crying. I really didn't want to have anything to do with the kids. I have too much on my plate right now, but I ended up walking into the living room where she was letting them sit on the edge of the couch. They looked totally blown out and not in a good state. It was actually kind of disturbing because Elle also seemed completely blown out and was at a point where she wasn't aware of their safety or needs. Elle had music blasting and the kids looked messed up. I picked up one of the babies and took her to the backyard to try to calm her. I came up and asked where the teething rings were since they're both teething. Come to find out she never even thought about giving them anything, forgot their diapers and food, and had been dosing them with Tylenol without really any awareness of their dose schedule. I was floored. I immediately went to the store and bought teething rings, anything to comfort them. After sterilizing the teething rings and comforting her children for another hour, I had to leave to go meet my partner. I left for a trip this morning. I was almost late because I had to do all my laundry and packing this morning because I was too busy helping her last night. The babies have been crying since they arrived. Meanwhile, she's acting pouty with me because I'm palpably getting frustrated with her behavior and how chaotic the situation is. She wants me to meet her at her cousin's house in another city when I get back from my trip so I can bond with the babies. Initially, this was the compromise I agreed to since I made a clear boundary that I wouldn't help with childcare. Now, I don't want to go. But I don't know what to tell her. And I don't know how to tell her that her continued obliviousness to my stated needs is crossing my boundaries and making me feel really angry. I get the sense that this is how all of her relationships go, but I can't tolerate it, and I need to make it another 2 months until her lease is up. How do I talk to her about this? How do I enforce my boundaries? Should I give her information on parenting classes? Comment. Tell her you don't need to bond with the babies. They're not yours. She sounds like a dumpster fire. Keep maintaining your boundaries. What if she already broke up with him, since the relationship wasn't going well? What if this visit is actually her moving her children into the house with Up? This was my first thought when she brought up the bonding statement. Op needs to make it clear up front that these babies will not be moving in with them, or else the roommate will take any equivocation as a green light to further stomp boundaries. If she throws a fit, then you know what her motives are. I agree. She's drugging her kids with no thoughts about dosages. They are in danger being in her care. He needs to know what is going on and get sole custody, and she gets supervised visits only. Op certainly does need to bond with the babies, for when her housemate breaks up with her boyfriend and decides to stay right where she is instead of moving out in December as planned. That seems to be the eventual conclusion of this mess. Op puts her foot down firm and fast now, then the kids having a one-off stay over will start to turn into an occasional one, then a week-long stay over and more until they've effectively moved in for good. Then, Op will be going, my roommate repeatedly ignores my boundaries and has moved her children into our flat, but I don't know what to do, because if I kick them all out, then where will the children live, who are innocents in all this? Help. Op's roommate has either grossly misunderstood the nature and extent of their relationship, which could be possible since Op has refused to be clear about things when her boundaries have been crossed, and often ends up helping out regardless, or the roommate is simply a more devious sort who's used to preying on and taking advantage of the time and charity of less dominant individuals. Op, have a sit-down conversation or write an email stating your boundaries. When you are working from home, you are working and not to be disturbed. Put a sign on the door, do not disturb unless you are dying. This means your roommate name. Maybe even lock the door and put in eat plugs or noise-canceling headphones. Stay strong. When I worked from home, I set a timer, and my young children, 4 and 6 at first, knew that unless there was fire or blood involved they were not to disturb me until the timer went off. I started it out in small increments until we were up to an hour at a time, and I'd hear them come in to check it, with the older one saying something like, "Only 20 more minutes." Even they understood that my working from home meant I was busy. As far as bonding with L's babies goes, WTH. Op, you don't need to bond with them unless L plans on you becoming their caregiver. It does seem like L has some sort of plan to get you involved in raising her kids. That's a red flag emo, and I recommend you tell L that she needs to find another place to live because her lease won't be renewed. You might be right, she might be testing the waters on possibly moving the babies there if the relationship fails. Op, you are going to have to be very clear in your language when you set boundaries, and you're probably going to have to be okay with upsetting her when you do. She does not have the social awareness to understand hints, subtleties, or suggestions, but is very sensitive. It's not your job to manage to her life, and she has already put you in a position to do so several times. She will continue to erode your boundaries if you don't stay strong. She sounds very manipulative, as there is no reason whatsoever that her landlord/roommate needs to bond with her children. I would be aware that she may be planning something like this, and since she is already trying to get you to care for the children for free and neglecting them, she may be planning on you being their caregiver. Your life will be a living hell. Stop this in its tracks before it turns into a difficult situation, e.g. her bringing her kids and refusing to move out. Why would you need to bond with her babies? You're not her partner. She sounds like a train wreck of a parent. I think you went to just be very straightforward. Roommate, I think you're cool and all, but I'm renting you a room. I'm not here to be your therapist or babysitter. When I am WFH, I don't want to be disturbed. We never discussed you bringing the babies here, and it's not working. If you want to visit them, drive home and do it there. You're being irresponsible with them here, and I don't want any part of that. This is my home and my workspace, and I don't want children in either. This isn't exactly the same, but close. I owned my home. Wanted to rent a room. Was explicit that the home is already furnished, so other than things that could fit in the bedroom, there's no storage. My contract stated no overnight guests. Confirmed it was just the one person. They signed the contract after I interviewed her in person and gave me a deposit. Move-in day comes and she shows up with a U-Haul and 2 kids. For a 10x10 bedroom. Oh hell no. I gave her the money back and she called me lots of names, but whatever. Kept me from ending up in a situation like yours. Story 2. My husband refuses to help with our 3rd child. I'll start this off by saying that my husband and I have been together for 11 years. We became parents young. With our first 2 children, all parental responsibilities were split fairly, all household responsibilities were split fairly, but at that time, I was the only one working. Fast forward to now, I am 10 months postpartum with our 3rd child and have been a stay-at-home mom since. Husband is now working. From day one, he has not done any parenting to our youngest. He has not fed him one time, bottle, or solids. He has changed at most 4 diapers. He has not given our child a bath or really spent any quality time with our son at all. Since becoming a stay-at-home mom, all of the household chores fall on me. I get it, I'm home more often. But he lives, eats, showers and makes messes here too. I'm expected to do it all and go back behind him to clean his messes on top of doing 100% of the care 100% of the time for our children. I have begged, pleaded, asked politely for help, for a break. But this man refuses to help in any way. I didn't get to sleep at all in the hospital after delivery, nor was I able to shower. I had severe preeclampsia and was pretty much shackled to my bed because my medical team was afraid of me seizing or stroking out due to my BP being so high. Our first day home, I told him I wanted to take a shower and asked if he would be okay with baby. He told me no, I am not. If you want to shower, take him in the bathroom with you or shower with him. Within the first week of being postpartum, I became so sleep deprived. During one of our child's wake windows, I could not for the life of me keep my eyes open and I was terrified of falling asleep accidentally and something happening to baby. I asked him if he could watch baby long enough for me to nap and I was met with no, I'm just as tired as you are. He keeps me up too. And this man went to sleep, snoring so loudly over my desperate cries for help. Since then, there has been absolutely no improvement. We've had many discussions and arguments over what needs to change. I asked for 30 minutes a night to clean up after the family, so I won't be overwhelmed in the morning. That was not negotiable to him. I just need to do better and manage my time better and I won't get overwhelmed. His offer for me being able to have me time is 20 minutes once a week so I can shower. I stopped asking and just started telling because I got tired of hearing no. I took him the baby, who was fed, changed, and happy and told him I was going to take a nap. He puts the baby in the pack and play right after I get into bed, comes into the bedroom and is trying to initiate sexy time. I'm irritated at this point. I told him that I didn't go to bed for that I genuinely need a break and need a nap. He gets mad, storms out of the bedroom and storms back in with the baby and tells me you know you don't get a break until after his first birthday. And then he leaves. I'm honestly at my wit's end. I've had 3 to 4 hours of sleep every night for the past 10 months. And he makes me feel like I'm asking too much from him when all I'm really asking for is the bare minimum. Why do I have to wait a year for you to be a parent? It breaks my heart to look back at old pictures of him with our oldest 2 children, because he was never like this with them. It hurts seeing all these women have super supportive partners and know that he used to be one. I just don't know what to do anymore, but I'm at the end of my rope and I know I cannot continue pouring from an empty cup. He believes going to work and mowing the yard when he feels like it is doing his part. I just don't understand what changed. Comment. Do you have any friends or family who can come help you? If not, can you afford to hire a babysitter for a few hours? You need a sleep break. Nothing can be addressed until you've properly rested. Your husband is another issue. Honestly, the most important thing is you and getting yourself into a place to even deal with his BS. Make no mistake, it's total BS, but it's second to making sure you don't keel over from exhaustion. Can you look into any childcare at like the YMCA? When my kids were little they had free childcare there. They also had movie night events and things so parents could get a break. Even if it's just for an hour for you to go shower at the Y. It's not ideal, but it could be a start. I agree, this reeks of spousal and financial abuse. I'm worried for you. You should contact a women's shelter. You get abused. They have possibilities to help you. They have contacts. You aren't the first mother in such a situation that contacts them. Often you don't know of the possibilities of your cities like local funds or other help. They also can help you with a lawyer. That awful. I know there are organizations for women like you when nobody wants to help. The acts statewide and sometimes even over the border of states. Maybe try to post in an abuse sub. It is a question of time till you break down because you get so little sleep and no real rest. I hope you find a way to get out soon. I wish you the best. I'm so sorry you're going through the ringer like this. If you can get a referral from your state's bar association for a divorce lawyer or find one another way, please set up a free consultation if possible. Many law firms even do Zoom type meetings since the pandemic. I understand you don't have immediate access to shared funds, but in most states divorce lawyers can be paid through shared funds whether both parties agree or not. I'd wager there's a divorce lawyer in your state that has dealt with a financially abusive spouse before. You don't have to tell him if you don't want to. I strongly second the recommendation to utilize your state's resources for victims of abuse and get into counseling. There's no need for you to clean up after him, do his laundry, etc. The only thing you need to look after is your kids and self. Call some local lawyers and see about divorcing. Many states have laws that if one party is not working, the other has to pay for their lawyer. Some lawyers will accept you as a client without immediate payment and then get the money from your spouse. Do you have any money left over from when you were working?